All right, everyone, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. Take that off here. So over the last few weeks, heavily, at least this entire month, actually, we've been basically looking through this range here. We've got our range low mapped off and our range high. You got your point of control coming in right at about $42,000, which is your volume target here. We had a 2-year key level in the mix right here, about 39,800. A weekly pivot, or maybe that's a daily I have right here, so don't pay really too much attention to that. Our monthly open, and that's pretty much our biggest levels that we've been paying attention for over the last few weeks. There's a couple of quarterlies here and there too. And essentially, we've just been running through this range back and forth, right? I want to bring attention back to the just about 2 weeks ago, I'd say, right, where we were seeing this inverse head and shoulders kind of play out or start to play out. Everybody's getting really excited about this. What happened is that, you see this, and we're going to talk a little bit about the news today, right? It's just a different viewpoint on how you can gauge it, or how whatever. It's totally up to you how you want to take fundamentals and technicals, and if you want to mix them, or if you are one or the other only. It's totally up to you, right? Whatever works best for you. It's just like anything else. Like, there's so many different ways, strategies, methods. To me, I was just talking about earlier how the news, is so. Think back to a perfect example, I guess, is, I don't even remember what this one was, right? The what dropped us all the way to here is either a Fed meeting or the Kazakhstan. I think it was that, right? Something about energy in Kazakhstan, right? Whatever that turned out to be, and we fell down to 33K. And at this level, right? And I know I kind of skipped over that inverse head and shoulders, but the inverse head and shoulders looked like it just got rejected, and in reality, it basically came up. We got rejected at the range high, and we fell. And most people did not have any of these levels below, or an idea of what to anticipate to the downside. All that most were probably looking for was just this up only pattern, right, where you had this inverse head, right, and then right here you were looking to see that shoulder come in and finish, and realistically you wanted to see that finish, retest, and off you go. And to us, when these patterns do emerge, it's really, really great. I've been basically stacking if you got a pattern set up with the levels that we're watching too. And so if this was to have happened, that would have been great and fine, right? And what we would have really been looking for is that we would have broke the range high. We would have broke above the yearly open, retested the yearly open, and then you would be looking up anyways, right? Most aren't looking for those levels in general. Those are also coming in as very high levels of resistance. Now, what happened was we literally came up and we got rejected at the range high. And when you get rejected at the range high, you have to imagine you're going back to the range low. And that's just, not that it's the only stop from there, but that's the big picture overall. And then you put your context clues around what's going on. Otherwise, you start losing levels, yada, yada, yada. So we came back down to our range low. Now, news is big right now, right? There's a lot of fear, a lot of things going on, and we have big potential to take this to the next level here. But I'm going to show you why, as far as on a level basis. And will the news correlate? Probably, right? Like, that's just how that works. But this is where you can anticipate where we may stop, and things of that nature. And I think that's kind of where the difference comes in, right? So to me, I'm looking at this level right here, and I know that if we get rejected right here, this 35, I'll pull this up for the reason here in a second. If we get rejected at this 35.8, whatever this is right here, this is the point of control of that previous historic range that we fell back into, right? We wanted to be above this monthly open for 2 reasons. One is monthly open. You want to be living above there. 2, this was the range high of our historic range from last year that we basically lived in over here as well, and that we grinded it out basically the whole summer last year. And when you're living back in these ranges, if you can't get out of it and you start falling from the range high, you're more than likely going to cycle the entire range to the low, right? Especially if you start losing the point of control, this and that. And I'll bring up those levels here in a second, but just kind of walking everybody down this path here. I bring these up for this reason, right? Is that in specifically in our Discord server, we had a meeting last Wednesday, and that's when we were at this level, when everyone was anticipating this inverse head and shoulders, and we were anticipating the range low. Now, last night we had our new market update, and it was really, and it was actually live as we were getting this drop, which I think that we're going to get this, if we get this next drop here today, I'm imagining we're probably going to see it here within the next hour or so. When the markets reopen, we'll see how things all correlate together in that aspect. I will say that the timing is usually correlated to when the markets open and this and that. So, but planning on what's to happen, right? Everybody's probably are assuming that things will crash and this and that, and they may. And but we'll be looking for what to pay attention for. Anyways, getting a little ramble there, but we got rejected from the range high. Our point of control, which I took off for some reason. Point of control is right here at 42K, right? So we came back down. We held that for maybe a minute. We held it more so from the range high originally over here, had a bounce, lower high, rejected from the range high, and essentially we were looking lower. We held the 2-year key level for a bit, came back down, retested the monthly open, lost it, back tested it, and down we go, right? So what are we looking for now? Right, because realistically, to look up again, we have to get back in this range. You have to get accepted back into this range, basically. And at this point, yeah, the range low is actually adjusted. This is a developing range, so it does adjust as we go. Very similar to a moving average. So you got the low actually coming in now at about 37.5. So yeah, you're going to want to get back above, get back into this range, so to speak. That is how we're going to be looking to the upside in any manner. You want to get back above the monthly open, which is going to enter you back into this range, and then you can start looking up again, right? So that is to the upside. Now to the downside, which is probably more likely at the moment, we're getting a little bit of a push higher here, but where are we in the chart is the question, right? So like once again, you may just see this as you got support or what have you. Realistically. So this is our current range that we fell back in, and this is the one from last year, right? So range low, range high, okay, and then you got the EQ right here in the middle. Is pretty much what we're straddling at the moment. If we lose that EQ, it is very, very likely we come back down to this range low, and there's two reasons for that. One, we're going to lose our point of control as well, which is our natural target once we re-enter a range, right? We basically re-entered this range and we shot straight down. We actually passed the point of control here. That's at 35,800 that we were talking about yesterday, day before, at least Monday through yesterday as well. Shot down right past it, came up and we back tested it so far. You don't break back above this point of control here, we are more than likely coming down and testing out this bottom here, right? So regardless of news, right? Like I'm just bringing this up and putting this out there for everybody to pay attention to, because you want to be aware, obviously, of you want to be aware of the levels to be paying attention to, because like I said yesterday when this started crashing through, I guarantee you most people had no idea what was going on. And somebody even said today in our Discord, which it was that everybody in our is calm as a cucumber, whether or not you can act on it, right? And this is the thing too. I know that most people are in the market already. Most people don't have extra cash on the side. Most people are down. With that being said, if you are unable to prepare for this was a quick move, and also and you would have had to really be willing to be all right, I'm going to cut all my bags or whatever, and then just buy back lower. Well, most people probably can't really do that, right? Emotionally, that's a really tough decision to make. I know that everybody would love to think back to yesterday and be like, I should have sold at 39, or I should have sold. During the time, it is a really tough decision to make because you always think it's going to turn around. But at least you have a mental idea of where this can go, and I think that helps protect you. I feel that from panic selling or anything like that. So obviously, everything is always up to you on how you manage your risk. And in that regard, your trading strategy, all that's going to have to be in your to your discretion. But this is what I'd be looking for. And like I said, we got markets reopen in about 8 minutes. Futures markets are down heavily, right? So it's already kind of an inclination. But one of two things here, news aside, you come up and you reclaim this point of control, right? This 35.8. And more than likely, we're going to cycle it back to the range high, about $38,000, and we'll have to see how things go here. You break out of that range, and then you're looking at the monthly open. However, right now, that is not how it looks, right? And regardless of what the news is, we get a rejection from here, which once again, it could correlate. I'm bringing up the, you know, if you're a fundamentals person, if you're a technicals person, if you're taking all the information and building up your own thesis, do what is right for you. I don't pay attention to the news personally, but I don't feel that I need to. I can already tell that, we can probably expect that, okay, if this is going to be a move to the downside here, we're going to get this rejection from this point of control. This little box right here is really the only thing that's holding us up. This is our EQ, and this is our point of control as resistance now. Not a great thing, right? This is a pretty big level to be below. And if we get rejected from there, fully anticipate ranging to the cycle low here, or cycling to the range low here. Reason being also that this is a major area of interest, is that if you've been watching either between me or Magic Internet Money for the last 2 months, this has been our doomsday, scenario, and there's actually a lot more to this, but this is just a simple version here. So from Christmas Eve's 52K, fake out, swing failure pattern, however you're going to look at it, we were targeting these two areas because these were volume targets that were left behind from last year, right? I don't know if you can see that on TikTok, sorry. And I'll take this previous range box off, but that's what it looked like, right? And we'll take the point of control off, kind of clear this up. Hi everybody, welcome in. Just getting started here. Hope you're having as good of a morning as you can. I know we got some somber news going around across the globe. We're just going over the next levels to watch for Bitcoin, right? So that's kind of the deal here, right? So for everybody that just kind of came in because we just had a huge influx here, I'll go ahead and restart this real quick. I know that for everybody that was watching, that pretty much was the idea anyways, and then we'll kind of walk it back through for everybody once again. But still, this doomsday folder, right, was what we put out. We created, I guess, you could say. Magic Internet Money has his from way back, but yeah, this was from our Christmas time. That 52K area. We had these two volume targets down here, and this is the thing: these volume targets have Y behind it, right? These are generally back tested at least 80% of the time. So they're not always. It's like a CME futures gap, I guess, but they got a really high statistic on getting backfilled. This one right here took about 8 months to come back to. And with how close we are to this price action, it would be shocking to not come down and fill this 32,200. Now from there, I know you're looking at this next box. This would be, in my opinion, the bottom, right? Like which whatever, like you'd have to see how things play out, but if we got to, this is a big if, right? If these two don't hold, we're pretty much looking at this. And what this is for two big reasons, right? This is pretty much where we based off of at the last pullback in last year, but the bigger reason is because this is a macro level major fib from the COVID crash to the 69K top. Right here in this box. So this is a big area if we get down to it, right? But the levels to watch for now, it's this one right here, 32,200. This is a big one for me, and I'm about to a ton of people piling in here now. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I know we got some crazy news going on right now. We're just walking down the levels here to watch for Bitcoin. All right, so this is what we were looking at, right, previous to last night, right? So, we've been looking at this scenario for quite a while. I'm going to take off this because this is pretty much where we were about a couple weeks back, right? This is when everybody was looking for this inverse head and shoulders, right? This was last week, actually, last Wednesday. We had our exclusive member-only update in the group. We were talking about how this probably would not play out. However, when we were looking at this, we're looking for both, sides, basically. So had this inverse head and shoulders played out, right, whatever you would have been looking for, realistically a breakout of the neckline, retest, and then you'd be looking higher. Some confluence with that, if it was to play out, would have been that if we would have broke this range high and reclaimed the yearly open, held that as support and took off, that would have been, just more so what you'd be looking for. That would have also, basically lined up perfectly with that. So if that would have all played out, then yeah, that would have been great. One thing people probably failed to do was plan on, what this would look like if this failed. And the levels to the downside here of what it was actually going on was that this just ran back up to the range high, got rejected at the range high, and then from there to the range low you go. You got your point of control, which is generally your first target in between. As you can see, we kind of came down there once and just broke straight through it the second time. We do have a 2-year key level in here as well, so that's a high time frame average of price that we had in there, holding us up for a little bit. Once we lost that monthly open, though, we essentially just came straight through. So 2 things to pay attention for upside, and that's just, you know, if we're going to get it, but we may get some more downside first, right? That's just kind of what you have to anticipate, is that you want to regain this monthly open, which is about 38,200, and for 2 reasons. Not only is that the monthly open, but that's also the range high of our historical range that we just re-entered now. And basically that's the one from last summer, and that's the one we were just going over if you just strolled in here. And that is where the range low comes in about 32K. Now, we lost this range, so really acceptance back into this range is the key for upside, and until that happens, you really can't anticipate much more than that. So I know that that's probably a hot 6% away, I guess. So that's what you'd be looking for to anticipate more upside. You really want to reclaim this monthly open. Then you're looking at this 2-year key level. At that point, you'd be putting in higher highs. Now for the downside, right? We were looking for this range low to hold. It did not. So once that happens, right, we were looking at this 36,200 over here. This was our recent low as well. Once that got lost, all these lower levels got activated. So from here, and this once again, this is just what I'm looking at. Obviously, do your own research, figure out what's what you're gonna do, if you're gonna do anything, or just be aware that these levels have some Y behind it. So if you see these pop up, so what we did here is that we re-entered into the historical range of last year. That range looks like this, right? So range high is here, range low is here. You got your EQ, which is your middle of the range, sitting right here. And then your point of control, which is your volume target, is what we're back testing right now, right? So in the grand scheme of things, doesn't look great. You really want to see this point of control regained, and then you're looking back probably up to the range high. We're talking news today, right? So there's all kinds of crazy news going on, big world events. You know, most people are looking at, this being like, oh, we're just going to go down from here, and we may, right? And then this, like I said, this is where you want to have that plan in place. To me, regardless of the news, if we get rejected at this level, I'm looking here, right? And for what reason? A, that's the range low, and B, this is a huge volume target that we never backfilled last year, actually. And it's right here, right? This is the levels we've been looking at for quite some time here, right? All the way back in December, we brought these out, and we came down and we tagged the one. So it's these 2 levels here that we've been looking to fill for quite some time: 33,500, 32,200. The 33K dump last month is where we came down to. We filled this one right here. We ran it back, and since then, we are so close now to this second one here, on top of it being the range low, on top of us, if we do lose this point of control, fully anticipate coming back down and taking out this low. So just something to be aware of here, right? To invalidate this, obviously we could, we'd be paying attention to see if this point of control is regained, get a run back to the range high, about 38, and then realistically you regain the monthly open, and things change. So the monthly open is a big one to pay attention for, to kind of get back above and hold above. And even then, we still have a ton of resistance above us, but that is where you want to start seeing, for any kind of upside continuation from here at the moment. I still foresee this market going higher, but we may see, we're probably going to see lower first, right? And then there's reasons to these targets below us, right? These are major volume targets. This isn't just random support from last year or this or that. Even this one down here, right? This big one, next stop, if the NPOCs don't hold, this is a macro fib level all the way back from the 2020 crash to the 69K top. So this is a big area to pay attention for. We may not get it, right? We may not even get this one. That's the thing, right? You really want to pay attention and go level by level right now. But do understand where these exist at, because once again, like last night, if you didn't have these levels in mind, which one of the major ones here was this point of control about 35.8, then you had this EQ about 35K. If you weren't looking to these at all, or even had these in mind at all, how scary was this drop, right? You probably just thought it was going to keep going straight down, and if it did, where was it going to stop at, right? To me, this is a big stopping point if we get here for now, and we'll have to reevaluate. Of course, if we do come down to this, that's going to be putting in a lower low. So market structure wise, you'd still be in a pretty big downtrend. So then this area definitely is on the table at that point. And it's for you to decide, or for us to kind of reevaluate once we get there. But this level right here is a very, very big real target right now, 32.2. Last night too, Magic Internet Money and myself, we put out a really, really nice just overall market update. It's a little over an hour long. So if you're interested in that, if you're in the group, go ahead and check it. It's been recorded. It is in the live recording section, right? So that's where we put all of our updates. Last Wednesday, we put our update in there, and that basically mapped out the move from 45K all the way back to the range low. And then to last night is mapped out pretty much what we can expect over the next few weeks here. You also get altcoin updates, Bitcoin updates, all the things in here, right? You got an academy, and we're going to be launching order flow today, which is also another really big tool in this world. So this is going to allow you to get a really good grasp on what's going on behind the scenes with real market orders, real market buys, not just looking at the RSI and having these lagging indicators. These are real orders coming in and out of the market. So we're going to be introducing that today for everybody. So if you're interested, the link is in my bio to the Leading Crypto Discord there. And like I said, give that the market update a watch, because those alone, we do it every Wednesday and Sunday. And you could do nothing else in that group but just watch those two videos, and realistically you'd have a good idea of what to expect. All right, so ETH here, right? Melted down just with Bitcoin too, right? Lost that monthly open, and down we went. So this has got a little bit more to climb to start looking for some upside here. But we really want to see these monthly opens regained. Bitcoin, is at 38.2, and then for ETH, it's at about 2,700 at the moment. So we fell back down below this previous point of control, which once again, back testing at the moment. So not the best sign, right? Until we can actually fill that out. I was going to draw this little cross there. But we fell through it, getting a back test right now. So realistically, you want to be looking for this 6-month level at 22.73, or this $2,200 right here, which is the range low from basically last month. So very important to see how Bitcoin reacts. Of course, with everything going on in the markets and everything of that nature, the context around us. If you're big on the news or anything like that, if you're a fundamentals person, right, you're probably assuming we're going to go lower, and we very well may today. It may be a March 2020 style type of move. So be prepared for whatever. But with that being said, going back to Bitcoin here, right, I do want to point out that if we do come out and we bottom out at this 32, news-wise, once again, nobody loves a war, right? It's terrible what's going on across. But as far as emotions in the market, if you're gonna have to consider this, right? We go through all kinds of things. We dropped down to lower than where we are now. Lower, like this whole move right here was basically the conflict news, if you're gonna tag news to this. More than anything, I feel like this was a rejection at the range high to the range low. We lost the range low, and now we're targeting these lower levels. But if you're going to go on news, just think about this, right? Granted that maybe this move isn't done, and maybe we do fall all the way down to this level here. Well, this level, these three, I guess you could say, have been active and realistic areas of interest since for Christmas for us, since the 52K high, but realistically ever since the 69K high. In this massive range we've been in basically since last year, from ranging straight up from 30K up to 60K, and then back, and then we ran it up and down from 260K, 69K twice last year. So far this year, obviously we haven't necessarily gotten all the way, grinded it all the way down, and we're probably going to get that soon. But in the sense of news, I guess, if you're going to go off that, I'm just bringing up this to, think about it like this. WW3 breaking out is dropping us to this level, 25% pullback, whatever it may be. This was what? A Fed meeting? Or like I said, this probably actually was more so I think it was that energy crisis or whatever it was going on down there. So you could pair it up, right? It really depends on how you want to view things. If you are big into the news and if it's like, oh, things are looking rough, also we're at main support, I think we're going to break it, and then you can kind of plan for that, then that's great. And if that works for you, the thing I bring up with the news the most right now is that the news is really scary, right? This is like, everybody probably thinks everything's going to go to zero, everything's going to just absolutely melt to the downside. Just want to put a reminder here that we literally are down. I mean, it's not even as bad as it was so far, because like I said, we fell to 32 or 33 already, but we're already down 50%. And can it go lower? For sure, right? Where are you? It's all about where you're prepared to take action, I guess, on your own portfolio. So whether you're gonna sell out and look for lower, or if you can't afford to do that because you're already down so much, you're already in the market, you don't have any more, well then your only other option is to wait, but be aware of what can happen. So when we get there, if we get there, you're not panic selling these absolute lows, right? So this target right here, I'm going to take off this one. I only bring this one up because I want to show that we came down and tagged this earlier and we left this behind. So this was always a big worry of ours, right? Because we did not come back to it. Well, the fact that we are this close and the context around everything else going on right now, it's very likely we come down here, especially with us being, from the lowest point, 6% away from the current point, we're talking 8 or 9%. So this 32.2 becomes a really real target right now. Down here is a big if and only if we start breaking below here, right? So, and then this is, to me, this is load the truck. If we get to this level, whatever anything is at, wherever the altcoins are, whatever Bitcoin, obviously Bitcoin will be here, whatever anything is at, this would be load the truck, in my opinion. So obviously it's up to you to decide whatever by the time we get to there, if we get there. But this would be load the truck zone. Until then, really can't anticipate getting all the way there until we get to here. So, and when we see some of these things, the March 2020 crash was a good example, right? You get down to a point, and yeah, that was a big drop. Don't get me wrong, but you saw how quickly, during that time frame of us recovering, how afraid was everybody, because it's just the news just kept piling on that places were closing down and lockdowns and this and that, and then we had literally 2 years where countries like Australia were absolutely locked down, literally until recently, and we had all-time highs come in and all this stuff, and so it's just you got to really take everything into consideration for the market wise. Whatever works for you obviously is what's best, and then you got to manage your own risk. So I bring a lot of people will talk about buying dip, or I'm going to buy here, or look to buy at these levels or anything like that. Well, I know more than anything too that a lot of people in this market are all in the market and they're down already. You really don't have much more to get in at. So if you don't have that kind of luxury, I suppose, then I would say do your own research on trying to figure out what and where would be big levels to where we come down to possibly turn around from. Because when you get there, it's going to be the most scariest time. We're already there. We're already in one of them, right? We could turn around right here. You could absolutely turn around right here. Regain this point of control, run it back, take the monthly open. It's not going to happen overnight, especially with everything going on right now. But, over the next week or 2 or 3, we could just turn around and run it back. But if we come down to these levels, 32.2, how freaked out is everybody going to be? Can we go lower? Yes. And this is always the thing. There's always an option. It's always a probability. But this is a high probability of a place to turn around at too, right? A lot more higher than where we are now. Because right now where we are, we came down, we fell below. We're in the middle of a range, which is generally never a great sign as far as, just turning around from. And we've now rejected the high. We're rejecting-ish, or you've already passed through and you're back testing the point of control. And essentially, you're going to cycle through this whole range at this point. If you get rejected off this point of control, we're cycling through to the bottom. So that's 32.2. And once again, volume target that we have had in place since last July. Things change, of course, if we reclaim this point of control. Realistically, that monthly open, which is a hot minute away at this point, right? You're talking about 10 or 12% to get back to the 38, to get back to where you want to start seeing closures happen. And realistically, you want to look for a daily at least. back above that. Really want to get out of this range. But unfortunately, when we do get into these, especially with as deep as we are, I mean, over here we didn't fulfill it all the way. But like I said, with us being this close to this target, this is a big one. Big area to pay attention for. So Quant, unlike others, right, is actually holding the monthly open at the moment. Obviously, if Bitcoin drops lower, we're going lower too, right? So that's the one thing. You got to pay attention to Bitcoin right now, as always, realistically. But for Quant, got rejected at the range high right here, right? Not necessarily rejected. Actually, we were probably trying to break out of it, but when we did re-enter it here, once again, you're targeting your range lows. In between the range low is always going to be your point of control. So depending on how far away that is, that's usually a natural target. For this case, the point of control is actually almost all the way back down by the range low, which is where we are right now. It's also double stacked. It's the monthly open. So this is an area you tend to come back to as well. And we're bouncing off that at the moment. So this will not hold, obviously, if Bitcoin does pull back. So anywhere between this monthly open and down to this range low, which you might even get a little drop below that, but that's another 10-12%. That's assuming that Bitcoin drops another 10 or 12% too, or no, 5. Alts are usually like twice as much. So Bitcoin goes down to 32, right? Just see how things kind of line up in that aspect, right? So you got your major, you got your range low coming in here for Quant, which is a major coin here, right? Major large cap, about 12% away. If Bitcoin drops 5 or 6 more percent, we'll probably see that $87 met for Quant. So 5 or 6% from where we are right now takes us back down to basically 33.5. So yeah, if we get down to this 32, that's about an 8-10% pullback. You can probably anticipate 15 to 20 more percent out of the altcoins if we get it. Paying attention to the reaction here. If we do get rejected at this, start falling below this EQ, then we're probably looking to these levels down here. So for DOT, the big buy zone, if reached, is definitely this 11 to, let's just call it $13 area. Last night we fell within $1 of it, getting a little bit of a green candle here coming out now. And realistically, anywhere between, I mean, this is I guess percentage wise, when you break it down into dollars, it doesn't sound like a lot, but this is about a 20 to 30% window here for DOT. This is a pretty big area of opportunity here if you're looking to pick up some DOT, right? So 11 to realistically 16, we're below that already, but if you do come into this area, then this would be a big area for me. And then same deal, right? To kind of start looking back for upside, we want to get accepted back into this range here, right? Hold the lows. You got your point of control coming in right here. You'd want to see reclaimed, and then real, bullish activity kind of can regain after you get that monthly open again. And then you can start looking up to the monthly key levels here. But this is where I'd be looking for downside, which makes a little bit more sense towards, if Bitcoin drops to 32, this is probably a realistic target for DOT, right? That's 25% though from where we are right now. So not a great long-term holder, portfolio bag at the moment, but these things will pass. Link is actually basing right off of a main area that we were looking for. So I could go lower, right? This is a yearly key level coming in here. So right about $11. Range low comes back in up here at about 13. Really want to get acceptance back into there to start looking up again. And then you got your monthly open all the way back here at $17. Me, DCA wise for Link, this could be a good opportunity. The only issue is with Link is that if we lose, the same rule applies, I guess, is that if BTC drops to that 32, you're still looking at another big move out of these altcoins. And Chainlink already being down to 12, that would probably take us down quite a bit. So, but regardless, as far as a long-term holders aspect, this is a major key level at the moment. So could it go lower? Absolutely, depending on Bitcoin right now too. But this is an area to be paying attention for sure. All right, so you're getting a green candle so far to start the day on the S&P 500 here, right? These percentages are always nothing compared to crypto, but for a 1 to 2% move out of S&P, obviously that's a big move to start off with. We'll see how things kind of continue. The overnight obviously like just kind of melted straight down, so you tend to get a little relief rally here. We do have a quarterly key level coming in right here, about $4,200. So do watch out for that if we do get a retest there into the downside. Otherwise, reclaim that, start looking up again, right? And the key things here that we want to look for, right? We're just taking it level by level. We really want to start living back above this point of control. You can see even though we're getting a couple of green candles, we're still basically just running right back into it. So it's very much something to consider. I want to show you how we reacted to last time, right? When we shot down in here, basically shot down probably about maybe a day and a half. We actually shot up. We had a one candle close above, and then that's when we actually came down and took out that $33,000 target. So we could get similar price action, right? So this is not always just after we get these big moves, right? We tend to get a little bit of slower movement for a minute, and then the next move comes in, right? So could take a while, but just be aware of the levels to be paying attention to. And like I said, we lose that point of control. This 32,200 is a really big target in my opinion. I think that's about all the time I have for everybody today. Hope that was a good enough update and made sense for everyone. For anyone that's looking to learn how to identify these ranges, key levels, points of control, things of that nature, Magic Internet Money and myself, we run the leading crypto Discord. Link is in my bio if you're interested in joining. We do post all of our altcoin setups here, all of our Bitcoin setups here. We have 2 exclusive market updates just for members only, Wednesdays and Sunday nights. So last night we just put in one, which was a really, really good one. If you have about an hour, I would say recommend watching that. Gives you kind of an overlay of what to expect on a deeper basis here. Last week we went through basically this entire move. We were right here last week on Wednesday, and everybody, like I said, they were looking for the inverse head and shoulders, which could have played out, right? We had both scenarios in play, but we were also coming into that range high, and we're expecting that range low more than anything, and that is what kind of played out. So on top of that, we got order flow getting launched today. So anybody's interested in order flow and open interest, I've got an order flow specialist, Max, right here. He's out there in Dubai, and he's going to be providing some of the best order flow and open interest training, so to speak, and analysis there that you really probably won't find anywhere else. We've also got a book collection for anybody. It's downloadable books here if you want to learn reading how to trade harmonics, if you want to go through Python for finance. I mean, there's all kinds of really great books in here. One of the Elliott waves, you got volume profile, and you even got order flow and everything in there too. So anybody that's into throwing it on the Kindle, sitting by the pool. But yeah, anybody's interested, link's in the bio there. For anybody else, I'll be live again tomorrow. I may do another live stream today, depending on if how this move transpires here. We'll come back and take a look at it. Do follow for daily live streams here. I try to go at 8:30 a.m. Eastern every single day, Monday through Friday at least. And until next time, everybody, have a great day. I know it's, like I said, it's a somber one across the board. Thoughts and prayers go out to everybody. Just keep your heads up, and yeah, just have your plan in place, right? So we're going to go through these things all the time, and it could be worse, right? So take care, and until next time, everybody, cheers.